because we are awesome. We've started recording. So just a reminder to everybody that we are recording. We will share. Sometimes we get asked to share this content. So we will see, for those of you who got your cameras on, it is so good to see you. Just letting you know you are being recorded. I have the wonderful pleasure of introducing you to Cecilia today. I'm going to be in the back end, but Cecilia is going to be in the driving seat, and we're in for a real treat. Cecilia has a career that extends the globe, but specifically across the Asia Pacific region. And she has facilitated comprehensive, multifaceted leadership development for, get this, over 5,000 managers and executives across 14 countries. That's huge. That's huge. Cecilia's expertise includes certification in Lumina Learning. So if you haven't heard of that, check it out. It's quite amazing. And she leverages this to bring the human side of work into her approach. She's mastered, a bit like what I've done, very similar. We're very aligned. She's mastered leadership development, resilience, and conscious collaboration. And Cecilia's very open. She's experienced, gone from burnout to breakthrough as well. And a lot of us have had those challenges, and that really fuels her to restore balance, intuition, and unlock people's full potential. So we are so lucky to have Cecilia coming to us. For most of us are Australian in this, well, not all of us, but a lot of us are Australian in the audience today. And Cecilia's coming to us from across the globe. So we are so lucky to have her sharing her wisdom with us. And I'm really looking forward to listening and participating in what she's got to share. Over to you, Cecilia Young.
Okay, thank you, Barb. Thank you for that very kind introduction. So welcome. And it's great to have you here. Even though I can't see all your faces, your cameras are not on. I've connected with you, and it's my request to have your camera on. You don't have to, but it's just nice to see the faces, although I'll be sharing a PowerPoint screen shortly. Hi. Oh, it's so nice to see faces. There's Denise and Danielle. That's great. So I really appreciate that you're taking an hour and a half out of your day. For most of you, it's the morning, some of you in the evening over here in North America. And it's a topic that is interesting. And the fact that you're investing your time tells me that you are a well-rounded and a leader who's high in emotional intelligence, because you're taking the time to gain some tools on how to communicate more effectively and more respectfully. This topic is a little interesting. It's about how to deliver bad news. I was asked to design a workshop on delivering bad news about 15 years ago. And at the time, I struggled to find the content. And aside from just having some simple frameworks, I was at a little bit of a loss as to how to design such a program. Now, this was 15 years ago. Today, we have so many more modern and contemporary models to fall upon. And also, there's a lot more acceptance to stressors, to neuroscience, and our reactions, our personal stressful reactions. So we're going to be sharing that with you today. I'm pretty excited about the content that we have created here at the Hinwood Institute. And I'm going to jump right in and share my slides. And I'm going to get you to participate. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is tell me not why you joined. I know you joined because you want to gain some tools and techniques, but what is it about the topic? Kind words for tough talks, communicating difficult messages with empathy. And let me just share my screen with empathy and professionalism. So I think all of you have your smartphones with you. In this instance, I'm going to ask you to pull out your phone, and I have a QR code. It's a Slido. I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with Slido. Just going to ask you to scan the code and input your answer. Why do we dread giving bad news? Maybe some of you do not dread it. You find it's totally okay. But Put in your answer and you can input more than one answer. And let's see as a group how we feel about giving bad news. And just go ahead and type in your answer, and you can type in more than one answer, and it will create a word cloud for all of us to see. Okay, we got a couple people typing. Never sure how it will land. The unpredictability can be nerve-wracking. I get it. Fear. Oh, yes, just a note, your names won't be associated, so it's confidential. Because of the strong emotions involved and fear of them. So fear has come up a couple of times. Fear of damaging relationships. Clients feeling frustrated. Whoever wrote that, we're going to be covering a little bit on how to deal with clients. Not hurt the other person at the table. Yes. Not sure what words to use. Okay, let's give it another minute. Damage the relationship. Rejection. No experience in delivering bad news. Well, we're glad you're here to get a little bit of experience, to learn some tools. Clients feel frustrated. I think I mentioned that already. Fear has come up. So if one word or phrase gets repeated, the word gets bigger. Story, empathy, understand. Giving bad news can be stressful. I agree. In a small team, it can have flow on effects. Yes. Okay, thank you for participating. So, when you look at all the statements that are here, what shows up for you? Want people to like me. Just take a look at the collective here, this group. Why you dread giving the bad news? To me, it really jumps out that there is a lot of fear, apprehension about how the news will land, about the concern about how the other person will receive the news. And therefore, because of this, it creates stress in the deliverer of bad news. So thank you. I'll just let this sit with you for a minute, and hopefully I'll be able to address most of these concerns in the next hour and 20 minutes. I want to let you know that our masterclass today is interactive. We welcome you to unmute yourselves, share a comment, use the chat. Barb is my sidekick today. She is going to be monitoring the chat. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type in. We really encourage your engagement. We are going to be sharing a couple of great tools, an easy framework that you'll be able to apply immediately. We really like practical tools. We're going to be sharing a video clip, and we're also going to go into a breakout room so you have a chance to practice. So the hour and a half is going to move very quickly, and I just want to jump ahead to the objectives we'll be covering. You probably saw this in our masterclass promotion. We're going to look at how to communicate difficult news and emphasize maintaining the trust and credibility. So, for those of you who are concerned about how the messages will land, we are going to be sharing with you empathetic communication techniques on how to manage the reactions and potentially resistance. And we're going to give you a simple communication framework so that you can develop your approach to deliver a challenging message that is respectful, is empathetic, and it's genuine. It really comes from you. I'd like to just quickly talk about the Hinwood Institute. Some of you are familiar with THI, mostly because of Barb. And I'm not sure if you're aware of the history, the reason why we're called the Hinwood Institute. It was formed to honor the legacy of Dr. John Hinwood, who played a big role in Michael Massey and Barbara Clifford's lives when he shared a lot of his incredible content on stress management, among many other well-being topics on well-being. And when he passed away, Michael Massey and Barb decided to join forces to honor the legacy of Dr. John Hinwood. This was in 2021. And Hinwood Institute today is mostly Barb and myself. And this is the two of us in Phuket a couple months ago. And as you can tell, we're both really fun loving people. We position ourselves as we're a couple of Gen Xers, and we started working when there was no internet, no email. So we had to learn human skills directly and concretely the hard way. Well, so we've been in the trenches and we went through all the changes in technology and also the changes in the workplace. So Barb is based in Australia and I'm based in Canada, and we do a lot of work internationally, and our virtual work allows us to connect with people all around the world. So we are at that age where we are totally okay to deal with the difficult, awkward, challenging, and uncomfortable aspects of the workplace. And we like to say that we bring the human side to it. And, the topics such as leading change, difficult relationships, resolving conflict, difficult conversations or team dysfunctions, we welcome it because we have the experience. We are comfortable working with these topics. So this is us. We're unabashed. We're imperfect. We're very authentic. We're very experienced. And most importantly, we're really enthusiastic about helping people. That's what we're truly aligned on. Our values are really about being of service and being a force for good, especially in helping people find fulfillment in the workplace. So that's enough about us. Today, I want to just briefly tell you about our model, the resilient leader model. As you will see here, these pieces fit together. Today, we're focusing on Talk Smart. So our communication piece includes delivering bad news, assertive communication, a lot of other skills that Barb and I specialize in. But just very quickly, if you look at Feel Good at Work, it's about workplace well-being. And then mission control is our specialty in leadership development. Tame your time. If you haven't already, really reach out to Barb. She is the expert on time management and productivity. She's known as the time tamer. Better together, that's really where it's an area I'm particularly passionate about, high performance and team performance. And we use a tool called Luminous Spark to help people bridge their differences and understand their strengths. And then essential human skills, emotional intelligence, the skill set that is going to make all the difference moving forward in our automated world. So today it is about bad news. So the brain on bad news. When we deliver bad news, we're not just communicating information, we're triggering a threat response in the other person's brain. So the receiver has a response, but it's not just the person receiving the bad news. Delivering the bad news, as you indicated in that opening Slido, can be just as distressing because it can trigger a range of emotions in the messenger, including discomfort, anxiety, and sometimes even some guilt or shame. So allow me to just share a little bit of neuroscience on the process of receiving bad news. So this what we call, it's a fancy term, neurological cascade. And when you deliver bad news without skillful preparation or having been trained on the delivery, you could potentially I say, trigger a 5-step process known as the amygdala hijack. And I'm sure some of you, many of you, or all of you have heard of this already. The amygdala hijack is when the ancient brain takes over and we're not able to think straight. So, research has shown that our brains process certain social threats like rejection or public embarrassment or receiving bad news in the exact same neural regions that process physical pain. Neuroscientists at UCLA use FMR, fMRI. fMRI stands for functional magnetic resonance imaging. So it's a non-invasive brain imaging technique that maps brain activity by detecting changes in the blood flow. So, in their scans to observe people's brains as they experience social rejection, they discover that regions of the brain that activate when you experience pain, such as like stubbing a toe, when you stub your toe, like something fires in your brain because it's very sudden and it's a jolt, or burning your hand, the same regions get lit up. So that explains why, we say, oh, I got knocked over or I felt it in the gut. So this is what we call the amygdala hijack. So the 5-step amygdala process, and I'll show you just very quickly. And have you heard of flip the lid? So if you can see my fist here, this is what we call flip the lid. And flip the lid is a just a simple way to understand the amygdala hijack by psychiatrist Dan Siegel. So flip the lid means if you look at the front here, this is our prefrontal cortex. Our prefrontal cortex is a region where we make executive decisions, we're calm, and we are able to make be logical and rational. So when we flip the lid, it means that the amygdala is now in full force. The amygdala has taken over. And when we flip the lid, we're in survival mode. And what we want to do is make sure that we regulate so that we stay and in control. So the first step in the amygdala process is the trigger. And the trigger is we could be triggered by a number of things, by some words. The project has been canceled, or we're restructuring the team, or even an innocent, hey, can I give you some feedback? Something happens in the brain. And depending on the scale of the trigger, the amygdala sounds the alarm. That's step two. The amygdala detects a social threat. Even though there's no physical threat, it doesn't matter. The amygdala is constantly scanning for threats. It doesn't quite analyze the nuance. It just says danger, danger, and it screams threat. So what happens after that is there is a surge of hormones. There's a hormonal flood, and the amygdala's alarm triggers or releases stress hormones in the body, primarily cortisol and adrenaline. So this is what we call the classic fight, flight, or freeze response. And so the heart rate increases, blood pressure rises, muscles tense, and the body now is laser focused to go into full protection mode, survival mode, and the focus narrows to the source of the threat. Step 4, the prefrontal cortex now goes offline. This is the most important when it comes to communication. We really need our thinking brain, but it goes offline in this instance, and because the flood of cortisol impairs the function. And so the brain is now diverting the resources, all the blood and oxygen, away from the slow, energy hungry prefrontal cortex to the fast, survival oriented limbic system. So I don't know if there's someone here from my dynamic presentation skills training. In public speaking, this is very typically the response. The fear once a person steps out in front of the audience, there's that hormonal flood. And over the years, I've taught exercises on how to calm this part of the brain. So that's step 4. What happens in step 5, if there are no interventions, is that the person with the prefrontal cortex offline, their behavior is now driven by their primitive survival brain. So one is fight. They can become very defensive, very argumentative, and make big statements like, this is unfair, or raise their voice, it's all your fault. And flight is when they withdraw, they may slam the door, leave the room, physically leave the conversation. And then lastly is freeze. Freeze is just a shutdown, complete shutdown. They go blank, they go quiet. They're just not able to process. I'm not sure if you've ever dealt with somebody I've come across where they just completely go blank. And the faint response is actually the freeze response. Faint, just not able to handle it. There's fainting. Hope nobody is fainting in your world, but that's a typical fight, flight, or freeze response. So the initial neurological cascade, when the amygdala is detecting a threat and releasing stress hormones, it is a universal and instantaneous human response. It happens to all of us when faced with unexpected, negative, or threatening information. It's in our training in how to handle this. So it's like we have a natural reflex to pull the hand away from a hot stove. It's a hardwired survival mechanism. So knowing this, you are in a position to better prepare your communication so that this is not triggered in the other person, no matter how well they're able to mask it. So I'm going to show you now let me just stop for a moment. I'm going to show you a quick video. And this video, it's actually a funny video from one of my favorite shows, The Office, the British Office. And it's just David doing a really bad job of giving bad news. I just want to make sure that my sound is on. Okay, all right, it is on. So here we go.
Cecilia, we're seeing your back end slide deck, not the main screen.
Thank you.
She's still here. What do you think?
Looked all right.
How did it go? What's the news?
What did she say? Fine.
What's the damage?
It's complicated.
Are you going to tell us?
Yeah. David.
We'd like to know now.
Okay. Right. Okay, gather. Yeah, you are. Well, there's good news and bad news. The bad news is Neil will be taking over both branches and some of you will lose your jobs. Yeah, yeah. Those of you who are kept on will have to relocate to Swindon if you want to. Yeah. Stay. I know. Gutting. You didn't see me. On a more positive note, the good news is I've been promoted. So, every cloud. You're still thinking about the bad news, aren't you?
There's no good news, David. It's only bad news and irrelevant news.
Yeah, that's not a phrase though, is it? I couldn't come out and go, oh, I've got some bad news and some irrelevant news.
You could have just told us about Neil. Kept your promotion to yourself.
Yeah, right.
Should have told us the good news first, got you happy.
There is no good news, David.
I think promotion is genuinely considered good news.
We're going to lose our jobs.
You're not all going to lose your jobs. God, just... Right, you're not going to lose your job. You're not going to lose your job. You know, you're not going to lose your job. So, let's get it in perspective, yeah? Come on.
Oh, so definitely somebody who's totally tone deaf. Yes, he is horrible. Did you see their faces? Those faces they felt real. And you've heard the term like, well, you're familiar with, would you like the good news or bad news? And what percentage of people do you think prefer the bad news over the good news? If you were to poll people, they would prefer the bad news first. But in the whole scheme of things, after you've delivered the bad news, it's really hard to really take in the good news. So our recommendation is to not lump the two together. Really do each portion of the delivery a good service and do your preparation. So we're going to go into a model very shortly, and I just want to check in with all of you. I saw some people coming in after we started. I just want to check in with you. You've probably been the recipient of bad news, and you've probably seen your share of how it's done well and how it was not done well. So we're not here to pick on people who are just tone deaf or did not show any empathy. But what we're doing is empower you, put you in charge so that the next time you have to deliver a challenging piece of communication, you're well prepared and you have the tools to help you not only prepare, but also deliver it with compassion and with empathy. So let me go into our model. Let's just go back to our deck. And enough of David. Had enough of you. Let's go into our model. So hold on. You can't see my screen, can you? No. Okay, I don't know what's happened. Let me try
No.
again. Give me a second here. All right. Okay, there we go.
It's still a black screen for me. Here's Cecilia.
Okay, my apologies. Slight technical error. Give me a second. Give me 1 second.
And so
Okay.
Cecilia's amygdala is going, Brit, Brit, Brit.
Yes. Thank you, Barb. So true. But you know what? This happens,
It does.
5% of the time. It's totally okay. All right.
Yay, we can see it. You're good.
Hey, okay. So what you can do is reduce the threat, and your preparation or lack of, and your actions and how you deliver the message will either reduce the element of threat or you can ramp it all the way up. So there are 4 factors to reducing the threat, or the 4 factors relating to the threat levels. The 4 factors affect how threatened the receiver of the bad news will react. And the first one is the nature and the severity of the news. So your job is being eliminated is a lot more serious than the budget approval is delayed for another 2 weeks. So this is about the severity and the nature of the news. The next factor is the person's baseline. So the person that you're delivering the news to or the team, they might be stressed, tired, burnt out, sleep deprived. And if that's the case, they will have a much lower threshold for an amygdala hijack. So think of the HALT acronym, HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And if you have one or combination of these, it will make you a lot more susceptible to the threat response. And customer service staff at airports and hotels, in my eye, are heroes because of the sheer number of people that they have to deal with who are in this state. So that's the second factor. The third factor is the person's personality and their past experiences. We'll give a little bit of guidance on how different personalities take in bad news. And just note that some are naturally more prone to anxiety and negative emotions. If you know a little something about their history, for example, somebody who's experienced a traumatic layoff in the past, they might have a much more intense reaction to the news of a restructuring because their brain has been conditioned to associate that situation with extreme danger. The last factor is your approach and delivery method. The other factors you may not have a lot of control over. You can certainly mitigate if you take the time to prepare, but your approach and delivery, you have absolute control over. And this is what we will be focusing on from this point. So I'm going to be sharing with you the SCARF model. Anyone here familiar with the SCARF model? You could raise your hand or give a little emoji so I can see. The SCARF model was developed by David Rock in 2008. I came across it several years ago when I was doing a lot of research on resilience. And it was the SCARF model was used to help understand stress triggers. I didn't quite appreciate it as much as I do now. And I'm going to be sharing with you, just breaking it down and just see how valuable it is in the context of our topic today. It's really straightforward, it's easy to remember, and it's grounded in neuroscience. It's super easy to remember the 5 things our brains are constantly scanning for to feel safe in any social situation. And it'll also help you anticipate potentially pressing one of the 5 threat buttons in the other person's mind. And also the SCARF model, it's not just for delivering bad news. It offers a lot of applications across leadership, change management, meetings, onboarding, negotiations, and cross-cultural work. So think of SCARF as a simple playbook for enhancing the quality of workplace communication and to ensure that communication is respectful. For leaders, it keeps the feedback fair and genuine. And for change, it helps forecast how people will respond. So I don't know if these scenarios or these situations apply to you. We work in teams. It helps with connection and reducing guesswork. And if those of you who deal with negotiations, it helps work towards equitable treatment and wins for everyone. So after learning this, you'll be able to use it in a lot of scenarios, a lot of day-to-day workplace scenarios, and you'll be able to do a quick SCARF scan, and the SCARF mnemonic is pretty easy to remember. So let's get started. And I just want to remind you that, like learning any new skill, using this model might be a little awkward at first, and that's totally normal. It takes practice, and I'm going to walk you through each domain, and then we are going to jump into a practice session so you can start practicing and start using this muscle. So S stands for status. And status is the threat of being embarrassed, being singled out, or being compared and being lower in status. And this is something that we face, we deal with every day. Hierarchy, we deal with titles, we deal with the elite, and we don't belong in this group. And the question, the fear response question is, are you saying I'm less valuable? Are you demoting me in the social hierarchy? So that's S in SCARF. C is for certainty, and it is a significant human need. Certainty is often triggered in the workplace. It's triggered in a lot of our day-to-day. In the workplace, it's triggered when faced with unclear plans, there are unseen forces, and worse, when there's constant change, as well as unclear goals or strategy. And that fear response is, what does this mean for me? Is my job being threatened? What is my future going to be like? A is for autonomy, and autonomy is very important for our motivation, for our sense of agency. When choice or control is threatened, this is when the fear response sets in. And this includes being micromanaged or being questioned or being challenged. And the fear question is, what say do I have in this matter? Am I just a pawn here? R is for relatedness. So this is a big one. And they're all important. They're all in powerful domains, but I find relatedness is is probably the one that will hit us emotionally because our brains are wired for social connection. And when there's a threat of exclusion or not belonging, it will definitely activate the alarm system. And interestingly enough, when we are asked to make a presentation in public speaking, it's the relatedness domain that gets triggered because we fear rejection from the audience. So the fear questions are, do I still belong here? Am I being pushed out of this group? The last domain, the F, is for fairness. So there's also a huge sense of justice in us. And fairness, if we feel that it's been unjust, it brings out anger in us. And this is when we're threatened by perceptions of unequal treatment or there is favoritism. And the question is, am I being treated the same as everyone else? Is this a level playing field? So that is the scarf model. And if you think about it, the last time that you felt you were sucker punched or you were on the receiving end of some difficult news, which of these domains were triggered? Which one or which domains were triggered? And we're going to get into the solution quick in a moment, but I just want you to take this in. And it's a lot of information. Don't worry about getting the notes. We're going to send you a cheat sheet after this masterclass. So you're going to have a summary of the framework for you to refer to afterwards. So here are some actions that can help reduce the threat. This is from your position as a leader, and we recommend that you really mitigate the threat response by scheduling the meeting respectfully, carefully selecting the right time and place. And when you are meeting, we're going to talk a little bit more about the conversation and the flow of communication, but make sure you include genuine empathy. And I say genuine empathy because if you fake the empathy, that will make the situation worse. So we want to make sure that you are truly in a position of empathy when you speak and say things like, I know this is difficult to hear. At the same time, we're going to ask you to be clear, direct, and stick to the facts. You can be empathetic and you can be direct at the same time. Provide the context and rationale without over-explaining. It really helps the receiver understand the process and why the decision was made, why this choice was selected. And then it's very important because if you're not regulated and you are emotional, it's going to be hard for you to be able to use a calm tone. So we ask that you regulate yourself, make sure that you're in a calm state, and that you also give them space to react. Now, this part here, listen. Barb and I talked about this on a recent podcast. Listening is really important here, giving space and listen actively. This is the part where you're going to be showing empathy and just allowing the message to land, but really showing your presence. It can make a big difference to help reduce the threat. Now, here are some actions that could potentially increase the threat. We don't recommend these actions, okay? So please do not ambush people or catch them off guard. And catching them off guard is like walking by in the hallway. Hey, by the way, I have something to tell you. Please do not do this. This could have serious reactions. And do not do it in public in front of others. Do not sugarcoat the message or be vague. And what we mean by this is do not try to soften it and add a silver lining. And we'll talk a little bit more about this. It's best to just stick to the facts and be clear and be direct. Also, don't make it personal, kind of like what David did in the clip there. Don't make it personal. Don't make it about you. It's really about the other person. The cases that I've seen where one would make it personal is like, oh, I'm also very devastated. I'm feeling very upset about it. Leave your feelings out of it. It's really about the receiver and to make sure that they are receiving the news with respect. And do not blame others or make excuses. That can go down another rabbit hole, and you don't want to go into another stream. Stick with the message. And also, we ask that you avoid appearing cold or robotic and just say, it's not personal, it's business. So it's hard to manage all of this because you want to be warm, but you don't want to collude with the receiver. You don't want to show too much emotion. You want to be clear, but you also want to have empathy. So this is one of the reasons why we recommend practicing and just having a practice session with somebody and to see how the message is going to land. So I see we have some messages in the chat here. Okay, all right. Somebody asked about the scarf model. Thank you, Barb, for putting that in the chat. And also HALT, which is hungry, angry, lonely, tired. The yuck sandwich. Did you want to say something about that, Barb?
Oh, it was just when you were saying about don't sugarcoat it. And you and I, again, Cecilia and I in our podcast had a whole big conversation, and you got to listen to it because I said something that made Cecilia nearly fall off her chair with laughter. She couldn't control herself. So you're going to go and listen to it. But yeah, the yuck sandwich, that's sugarcoating, right? That's going, here's something really nice. Oh, I'm going to hit you with something really horrible. And yeah, I'll try and make it up with something nice. So
Yes.
yeah, we debate the whole yuck sandwich.
The yuck sandwich, the hamburger model, and giving feedback is saying something nice, giving the clear, constructive feedback, the real message, and then ending with something nice. I don't recommend it. I feel like it dilutes the praise or the positive message. I really feel that the feedback should be given separately. And the debate continues. In this instance of delivering bad news, I recommend just being very direct. If there is something hopeful, something that can be seen as positive at the end, make sure that it is realistic and you can add that at the end. But overall, it's more kind to just deliver a single message. And we're going to get into the kind words. So I hope you have your pens ready. And if not, don't worry. We will send this to you in our summary sheet anyway. But I'm going to ask you to pay attention to each domain and the kind of words you can use to address the fear response in that particular domain. So the first one is for status. So imagine that this person is feeling like they're demoted or they are losing their standing. They might be feeling embarrassed in front of others. And some of these scenarios may include a promotion that they did not get, a new layer of management, possibly a lack of recognition or lack of credit that was not duly given, and a change in leadership. So some of the words can be, this change isn't about your performance, but current constraints. Again, I'm going to emphasize that please do not make any of this up because you capture these phrases. They have to be genuine and they have to be authentic and they have to be the truth. So you could get the essence of the phraseology, but please make it in your own words. Another one is, I have some difficult news to share, but I'm keen to hear your perspective once I have it. So addressing the status fear is, I have some news to share, but I'm also going to open up and hear your perspective. And another one is, we value your contributions to the team. This is a great way just to acknowledge that they do play an important role in status. So those are just a few examples. Won't always help, and it won't always be the salve for the message, but pay attention to what you think might be most threatened. If it's certainty that will be threatened, then make sure that you're very clear on the information that you're sharing. Here's what we know today, and here's the plan that we can commit to. A lot of times in leadership, they don't even know. And this is a time where you say, I'm going to share with you everything I know right now, and this is it. And as time passes and we know more, I will also share it with you. And scenarios where certainty may be triggered is a change in policy with unclear timelines, shifting project scope or deadlines, restructuring. This is quite common. And it's very important to keep the communication lines open. I know a lot of you who have been through change management, you know this, and it's change management 101. Be transparent and keep people informed. So your role is to communicate efficiently, communicate frequently. If something changes, you will hear from me with an updated timeline. And even just the opening, let me share the information I have so far. So those are kind words related to certainty. Now, how about when your autonomy is threatened? And what are some of the scenarios where this might happen? When there's top down, non negotiable processes, like there's just an announcement, right? As of September 1st, we are now going to be using this system, and you have to submit your reports by ABC. So those are times when we feel our autonomy is threatened, when there is perceived micromanagement. And the way to open and to mitigate that is to say, let's look at the options and discuss what path might fit you best. What are some of the ways that you could work on this? What are your thoughts on this approach? I welcome your input on the changes we are making. So autonomy allows the other person to feel like they have some form of control. Next, we have kind words for relatedness. So the situations where this might be triggered, team silos, when there's an exclusive project, or a lot of meetings for the elite team members and there's exclusion. Anytime there's exclusion, this fear will be triggered. It's a social threat when we feel like we could potentially be excluded. So in delivering this type of news where there actually potentially could be someone might be getting a transfer, or they might be moved off a project. I know this is not easy. I'm here to support and to discuss your concerns. We will check in regularly to ensure you're supported. And also, your well-being matters to us. So we're going to provide resources and a contact for questions. These may not be ideal, but have a think about that person and what are some of the resources? What's some of the support that you can offer? And the last one is fairness. To ensure that they understand the context, that we apply the same criteria across all teams. This is the rationale. Explain the rationale, explain the process and how the decisions were made. I know this is not what you wanted to hear, but let me explain the background, the context behind it. And let me walk you through the criteria and what we used to make this decision. Okay, so just going to stop for a moment there. And we've given a lot of info. So I'm okay to just pause for a moment and hear from you. I'm just going to pause.
I was just going to remind you. You're so good.
Yes. And I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. And let's see. This one is very easy to follow. And it will give you a template for how you prepare the message. And the acronym is also very easy to remember. It's called CLEAR. And we want you to start off with a concise opening. Just start off with a clear and direct statement. Research has shown that starting off with a simple statement such as, I do have some bad news to share, or I need to give you some difficult news. Unfortunately, I need to tell you that, and just give a few seconds, because this is taking away the ambush. Like, you're doing a little bit of preparation. And it's interesting that the brain will take a few seconds. If you do it calmly and you do it in a way that is respectful in the right setting. And then the L is to lead with facts. Present the facts in a couple of sentences. Avoid softening language that creates confusion. Just use very simple, unambiguous terms. And then the E is express empathy. We talked a lot about that. How do you show you understand the impact? A phrase might be, I understand this is disappointing. I understand this is difficult. And this isn't the outcome any of us wanted. And there's a warning here with the E portion is do not fake it. Do not say it if you don't mean it, because it can make the situation worse. Do not use flowery language if it's not in your style. Make sure it's authentic. And it's more important to be sincere with your empathy statements. Now, the next one, the A is to allow processing. This is when you step back, allow the message to land, give time for reflection, and then you can ask some questions. This is where the active listening comes in. Pause, show your presence, and really show that you are there. Be with this person. What questions do you have for me so far? How are you feeling about this? Do not jump into solutions. And then the last one, the R, stands for resolve with action. So end with very clear next steps. So this is what's going to happen in the next few days, or just outline what the next steps will be. And here's what's going to happen next. Offer support. You can end positively and say, while this is a setback, we still have some options. I'm confident we can work through this together. But be careful. The warning is do not offer false hope. Do not give a silver lining if there isn't one. Be authentic, be honest. So that's a clear framework. And what we're going to do is we are going to share all of this in a 2-page summary for you. And we're just close to wrapping up. I just want to see if there are any questions about the clear framework. We are recommending using the SCARF model in your preparation, in thinking of how the message will be received to ensure that the social triggers will not be activated, and then prepare your communication piece by using a simple, easy to follow communication worksheet. Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share just a couple of quick slides with you with regards to our upcoming masterclasses. And I hope you enjoyed today's masterclass. The purpose of our masterclasses is to deliver value, to connect with people, to get to know you. And we have quite a few coming up. They're all free, and they're related to topics that Barb and I are both very passionate about. Now, you're wondering, why are we doing all these sessions for free? We do it for a number of reasons. We know that what we do is important, and that when people get to know us, they will understand and they get the value of what we offer, and they will recommend clients to us, and we know that we will get workshops as a result. In the meantime, we're very happy to continue to offer you value. And if you find that you took away something and that you learned something, please give us some feedback and forward it to friends. We do not do any selling during our masterclasses. Our motto is to deliver value, and it all comes back. So next week, I'm delivering a session on emotional resilience to thrive in the modern workplace. And in 2 weeks' time, I will be speaking on the same topic, but this one is assertive way to give bad news. This is one specifically on feedback to team members. And then I really recommend you attend Barb's Tame Your Email Overload on September 2nd. Circle your calendar. And Barb, we can even put the schedule events in the link so that you can come back to our website and go to our schedule of events. So if you found this session interesting and you'd like to give us a review, please go ahead and scan that code. And the last thing I'm going to do is we are going to give away a book. And Barb is going to share. We're going to do a lucky draw. And thank you for staying till almost the end. I have this book called Difficult Conversations to give away. And I came across this book about 20 years ago. It was useful. And now there is a third edition. So this is
Oh.
brand new. I just received it by mail, and the lucky winner is going to get it by post from me from Canada. So Barb has a wheel. She's prepared a spin the wheel of all the names.
Oh, I am. Hang on, I'm trying to share. I'm rushing to share it. I keep pressing the wrong buttons. Here we go.
And let's see who is going to be the winner.
Okay,
All
you
right,
can
here
see
we
it.
go.
You're right. This is so much fun. I've been hanging out to do this. All right, here we go.
And the winner is
Oh, Karina! Yay!
it's
How
Karina.
exciting.
Where's Karina?
Where's Karina?
Karina, are you there? Karina.
I'm here.
There she is.
I'm sorry.
Are you able to turn your camera on or you can't?
Not at the moment,
Congratulations,
Not at the
unfortunately.
Karina.
Yay!
Thank you so much. It was so unexpected.
I will reach out to
Yeah.
you to send this to you. I might give it to you in
Thank you.
person. Karina is
Right.
visiting Vancouver next week.
Ah! It is not rigged, people. That is totally random. I punch in
Yes.
the names. Yeah.
So I really want to thank you for being here today. I hope you took away some useful tips and found the discussions helpful. And we have a few more minutes if you want to unmute yourself and let us know some feedback on what was the most important thing. What was the biggest takeaway from your session today? Please feel free to unmute yourself, or you can give yourself an extra 3 minutes and we'll say goodbye.
Thank you, Celia. Just want to say thanks for sharing the scarf model. I'll be sure to use that. I wasn't aware of such a model, so thank you.
Oh, thank you, Irvin.
Yeah.
And you'll receive the summary sheet so that you have something to reference.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Irvin. Anyone else like to share a comment? And Tim, as always, has provided a beautiful visual. You can see in the chat here. He is a incredibly talented graphic visual facilitator, and he put together the entire masterclass in a visual. So go ahead and download that. Just click onto it. It's beautiful. Thank you.
I've popped the link in the chat as well for our calendar of events. You will get, because you've registered for this masterclass, you will get emails regularly letting you know when we've got other stuff coming up as well. But you feel free to reach out.
Oh, you're welcome, Mark. So nice to have you with us. And thank you, Danielle. Very kind of you. We hope to see you next week for the Emotional Resilience Masterclass, or in 2 weeks' time. Thank you, Karina. We'll see you soon. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you, Amanda. It's nice to have you with us. Thank you, Tim, for that visual. Again, that was great.